Let's talk Tanya for the 24th of Cheshvan. Today we start a new chapter, chapter 30 in the Geras HaKodesh. It's a letter that was apparently addressed to a Chassidic community that was not giving as much charity as they were in previous years, or they had stopped giving charity. Something we've mentioned many times, how the Alter Rebbe was fundraising money always for the for the Chassidim who lived in Israel, the poor Chassidim. And the Alter Rebbe begins with a statement of our sages in the Talmud, which says, Kol haragil lovi lebeis hakneses, someone who regularly attends shul, and one day misses shul. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu shoyel olav. So God inquires and says, where were you? God wants to know where you were. You come every single day. We missed you today. And to be honest, this sounds a little like micromanaging. Yeah, I come every day. That's amazing. One day I miss. That's not fine. I can't have a vacation for one day. And the Alter Rebbe says that this principle actually can be expanded, although the Talmud is talking about someone who comes to pray in the shul, but really every mitzvah, any mitzvah that a person is used to doing regularly, and then one day misses out on it. So God wants to know what's going on. Where are you? You're missing in action. And if this is true about every mitzvah, it is certainly true about tzedakah, that if you're used to giving tzedakah at a certain frequency, and then you miss out, and God wants to know what's going on. And why is that certainly so? Because if it's true about every mitzvah, we know tzedakah is the greatest mitzvah. Our sages tell us that tzedakah is the equivalent of all the other mitzvahs combined. And therefore, the Alter Rebbe was telling his Chassidim, if you give every year, you have to give this year also. But really, that takes us back to the question we had earlier. So I gave last year, I gave 2 years ago, I gave 3 years ago, so I didn't give this year. Why is that so bad? Why is that so gefährlich? So to answer this question, the Alter Rebbe introduces an interesting saying of our sages. Our sages are talking about tzedakah, and they say, Kol pruta upruta mitztarefes l'cheshben gadol, which means that every coin that you give, every penny, every nickel, every dime, mitztarefes, it all adds up l'cheshben gadol to a large sum. And the obvious question is, tell me something I don't know. Any kid who attends basic arithmetic knows, yes, that every single coin, eventually it adds up to a large sum. I mean, that's the savings 101. Now, how do you save money? A little here, a little there, a little tomorrow, a little the day after, and eventually it becomes a large amount. What is the wisdom inherent in this statement? So although I'm sure that there are commentators that discuss this, the Alter Rebbe is going to discuss this from a Chassidic angle. The words are, they all add up l'cheshben gadol, a large sum, which in Hebrew the word for sum is cheshben. In Kabbalah, the word cheshben is a reference to Malchus. Malchus is the attribute which is the source of all of the worlds. And why is it called cheshben? Why is it called a sum? Because higher than Malchus, all there is the unity of God. The source of all multiplicity, the source of the fact that there's more than one, is in Malchus, which is the source of the worlds. Now, Malchus is the source of our energy, but it constantly needs an infusion from the higher attributes of God, because it on its own doesn't have any energy. So it needs a constant infusion. And of course, what causes that infusion of energy? Who causes it? That's us. When we do mitzvahs in general, and specifically through tzedakah, when we give tzedakah to someone who doesn't have, we cause an infusion of energy into Malchus, the source of the worlds. So kol pruto mitztarefes l'cheshben gadol, every single coin, eventually it all adds up to a big sum. The Alter Rebbe says what we're doing is, by giving tzedakah again and again, what we're doing is, we are making a cheshben gadol, we are making a big sum, we are making Malchus great. Make Malchus great again. Every time we give tzedakah, we're infusing divine energy into Malchus, and we're making cheshben gadol, we're making Malchus great. And this ensures the functioning of all of creation. So creation requires us. Our mitzvah, we're not just doing work for nothing. You go to shul, you're having an impact. You're having an impact on Malchus. You give tzedakah, you do a mitzvah. And if you miss a day, there's energy that's missing within creation. And once we understand that what we're doing is important, we realize, I can't miss a day. You know, imagine someone who's in charge of the air traffic control of JFK Airport, and he decides today, I'm not in the mood of going to work. You can't just not be in the mood of going to work. There are many people who are relying on you. You'll cause the whole air system, the whole United States, air travel will be messed up. Or let's say you're running an electricity plant for an entire big city. And we're running an electricity plant not for an entire big city, but for all of creation. So just saying I'm not in the mood today is not an option. It's not that God is micromanaging, but it's that God has interest in creation, and ultimately we're the ones that ensure the flow into creation. And therefore, obviously, the message of this letter of the Alter Rebbe to the Chassidim is, you've given tzedakah in the past years. That's very important. Keep on giving tzedakah. Don't miss out on that. With this, we have concluded this chapter, a relatively brief chapter, chapter 30. Tomorrow, we will start chapter 31, a letter from the Alter Rebbe on the topic of Ahavas Yisrael.